Welcome back to the Right Side of Grace. I'm Rick.
I'm Shelby.
Shelby is a stand-in for
Addie while she's away for the summer.
Shelby is also a Blazi. She is our second daughter. We have one more child that we might not ever let on the podcast, but we're waiting to see how that works out. But Shelby's going to stand in for Addie this summer as we record some episodes. And so what we're going to do today is meet Shelby. So let's figure out a little bit about Shelby Blazi. Last week we talked about, or last time we talked about Charlie. Got to meet him a little bit. Had some recording issues. My mic is hopefully better today. Fingers crossed. And then Shelby, you'll be the most important part of this conversation anyway, so hopefully your mic works better than everybody. So what we're going to do is, since we met Charlie last week, we'll meet Shelby and then maybe talk about some stuff that we'll be looking into the rest of the summer. All right. So Shelby, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe share a little bit about your testimony and then what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I just finished my first year at Gardner Webb. I guess I can, is this like, you can say whatever, right? I'm not going to give my social security number, but I can say the rest.
Yeah, we have 12 people that watch.
Yeah.
Some are family members.
Yeah. So. No, they're not doing anything with that information. So yeah, I just finished my first year at Gardner Webb. I obviously you just want me to share my testimony right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm new to this.
It's not like you haven't done this before.
Yeah, I have. This is my second podcast. That's an important part about me. You can't tell because I'm already being awkward, but I did do a podcast for one of my classes at school. So I have done this before, but not really showing it. I obviously grew up in the same family, but always was in church. And I think I was 7 or 8, and I remember Addie had gotten baptized, and a bunch of our friends were getting baptized. So I was naturally just kind of had sparked some interest in baptism, and I was very much I always like to learn, so I knew a lot. I guess as a kid, what that means, but I feel I knew a lot, but definitely did not have any heart knowledge. But wanted to get baptized because everybody else was getting baptized. So I remember going to my parents. I never forget. It was just the conversation. I just remember it so vividly. But went downstairs and was hey, I want to get saved. I want to be baptized. And I just remember my parents just talking to me what do you think that means? And we were just having just a conversation. I remember my dad told me to go upstairs and read a passage. I think it was in Luke. Do you remember?
But I would imagine it was Romans. I don't remember what passage.
I don't know why I think it was Luke. It was something I don't know. So clearly I don't remember that vividly. But I remember him telling me to go upstairs and read a passage. So I went upstairs and I read the passage. I had this pink little Bible, and I remember coming down the stairs and turning and being not even halfway down the stairs and being I did it, I said it, I read the prayer or read the scripture, and then I walked all the way down the stairs, and my dad was yeah, that's not really how it works. Definitely said it nicer than that, but I remember having a conversation of okay, there's more to this, and it was honestly a really long process until I was
yeah. So we got a recording of this actually.
Really?
Yeah, your conversation. I've recorded it on my iPad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think one of the iPads I have
somewhere out there.
Somewhere, I think it's the broken one. It's on there.
That's funny.
But you were kind of you understood everything.
Yeah.
You were very, clear about what the gospel was. You understood that you needed a savior. You were a sinner. All the things that you hit all the markers. Mm-hmm. We just weren't sure that it was something that was coming fully from a repentant heart and not just an understanding.
Yeah.
You had the intellectual knowledge. You knew A plus B, mm-hmm. and you knew what went 2 + 2 = 4 in the gospel. Right. You understood those concepts, but we weren't sure that it was a true heart repentant knowledge.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't think it was at that point. I think it was a lot of like.
But it wasn't like you were some rebellious kid.
No, yeah. I mean, my rebellious phase came later.
Yeah.
But no, I do remember like that was just kind of out of like everybody was doing it. But I think it took like I like went before we would go before the church like when you got saved, and like everybody would shake your hand and like give you a hug, and it was like an announcement, like it was super serious. I remember that, and I remember I loved attention, so I was like I was so excited for that moment, and I like vividly remember doing that. But then it wasn't for like I want to say 2 years, maybe more.
Yeah, we walked through it for a while.
Yeah,
it was a kind of a process,
yeah.
and then everybody's like looking for that one defining moment, and I'm like, yeah, let's just be sure that you're putting your faith in Jesus.
Yeah, which I'm honestly really grateful for that, because I think you see a lot of people who like don't like. I honestly like I don't have a testimony where it's like, okay, this is like a specific moment. Like I don't have like I dropped my knees and this is like when I felt like my life changed, but I can like see like, okay, this is when I started to change like in actions, I guess. But I mean, I think it really took me until like I would say in the last couple of years before I was really like broken over like my sinfulness. So I think it's just like sanctification, but it's definitely been a process of like.
You got baptized. I can't remember how old you were.
I think I was 11 because it was right before we moved. It was Easter before we moved.
Yeah, the Easter before we moved up here.
Yeah.
So that was probably 3 or 4 years.
It was a long time because I was like 7 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time. She had a little problem with running her mouth and having some. So it wasn't like we were just judging her sin, but we wanted to be sure that she understood what the gospel meant and what being sorrowful. There's a difference between, I think, worldly sorrow and then Christian sorrow, like sorrow for your sin and the broken relationship you have with the Lord. So there's a difference between those two things. And, you can be sorry because all the people in your life are good people, and I was like, meaning decent people who love the Lord and live a certain lifestyle, and it doesn't match yours, and you recognize that, and you have this worldly sorrow. I wish I was more like this, as opposed to a sorrow that is connected to, I am sorry I offended Christ. Yeah. I've offended the Holy God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. I've offended my God, and I need to make that right. And the only way I can make that right is have Christ make it right for me instead of myself. And I think that was what we were searching for.
Yeah.
I think you had a really good understanding of worldly sorrow. We were looking for the Christian sorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
But to be sure, you really showed fruit. And that's why we baptized you on that Easter Sunday.
Yep.
So, and I think we waited to Easter for special, because we had like, in Georgia, we didn't baptize somebody every week.
That's so crazy to me. Like, it's so different. Like, it's a good thing though. I'm not going to complain about baptizing people, but
yeah. So it was. So there was several people in the pool waiting, so to speak, not literally standing in the pool, but like they're in a queue there was about 5 or 6 that were waiting that day. And so we kind of pushed it off to Easter Sunday. That was it. Okay. So where would you say you stand now in your faith? Like, what do you feel, if you're putting yourself on a faith journey, you feel confident in where you're at and how you're growing, moving forward towards Christ, or you're in your rebellious stage?
Yeah, I'd say like, every day like is obviously like it's not like easy, like walking with the Lord, but I would say I've definitely like gotten more serious just in the last couple of years. Like, I think I've like fluctuated a lot of like, okay, like I'm super serious about this, and then I'm like, oh, like I get like just lazy, or like just, well, like I'm fine, like I'm not really, but over the last year, I'd say like I feel like I've grown a lot just spiritually, like in the sense of like, I think anytime you're going through something that's like, okay, like different or hard, like it gets almost like that's easier to like when you start like becoming more serious about like being in the Word or like spiritual disciplines in general. But I think just over the past couple of years, like of just being like seeing how, like I guess being like more broken over my sin and understanding, like you said, like because I definitely had that understanding, but I think just as I've like matured and like become sanctified, like I've just seen it more and more and been able to realize and just just go about that.
Kind of going away helps you to, it's like a refining moment. Like you get thrown into the
Definitely.
fire a little bit
Yeah.
and you have to, it's not easy to fall back into some comfortable way of life. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that made a big difference. Like when I first went to school, like just it definitely was not like a straight path of like, oh, I'm just like on fire for the Lord like the whole time. You know, it was but it was definitely like, okay, like this is really hard. So I had that to lean on. So but I think like I've had to like grow a lot in the sense of like what I believe and like trying to figure out where I stand on things, and that's made me like just more serious, I think.
What do you think is most helpful in your, like in this place when you get lazy or whatever? What wakes you back up? Like what's brought you back into line occasionally?
I would say like accountability. Like honestly, I think it just I
When you say accountability, like from
like I'd say like just even like going, okay, this is random, but when I went down to Georgia like 2 weeks ago, I went for one of my really good friends, Riley, her graduation, and
several others.
Yeah, and Taylor, but I was staying with Riley, and we went to church. I have a bunch of friends that I was going to graduation. Sorry, I was just thinking because I was with Riley in this moment I'm about to tell you. But yeah, so I got to see them graduate. That was great, and I love all of them. But me and Riley went to church, and I like hadn't been to church like on a week in a little bit because I've been back from school and we don't really have that in the summer at Hickory Grove. So it was just like a really like Andrew, the youth pastor there, he does a great job, and he had a really great sermon, and it was just a good, like I don't even really know a lot of those people, like we didn't grow up at that church, like but it was just like really like good for my heart, and I felt like it was just like, okay, like this is a good reminder. He talked about like spiritual disciplines, and it's like, man, like I just really want, like it was really good to hear that. So I think that just as like getting to be in community, like I think it makes such a big difference. Like I felt like going from being at school where I was like going to like multiple like services a week, because it's just like I go to a Christian school, so like that's just Christian sort of, but that's just like kind of the culture. So even if it's not like the most solid thing you've ever heard, like just getting to be with believers is just so like encouraging. But I think like just a conversation like Riley and I had like on the car ride home, like that was even the best part of it. Like just being like, okay, like I would go to this service, like we talk about whatever it is, and it was like we both left it like feeling convicted, and we were like, man, like this.
So you got to recap.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so it was just, and even like we went to like the small groups, and I'm not even in high school, so this is a student event, but I just like went with her because I had nothing else to do, and it was like a bunch of the girls I grew up with, and just a bunch of girls who go to church there, and we were all just talking, and it was just encouraging to like know like we're all like, even in different seasons of life, like we're all like struggling with these things. So just being in community of believers is just so like refreshing and encouraging.
Yeah, that's helpful. Also, so Gardner Webb, they have, is it a campus pastor? Is that a role, or is there something else called? The guy that I met that I really like. What's his name?
Josh, maybe?
I don't know his name. Is there like more than one person there?
Well, actually, I don't
the one that Madison introduced me to?
I think that was Josh. Okay. So we have like a campus pastor. Sorry, I don't know. We have.
She's the one who goes to school there. I've been there twice.
We have a campus pastor. I think that's his title. But then we have like a guy who's over like the campus ministries, and they're like two different guys. So like, there's one who like does like the chapel every week, and then there's one who like leads like the worship service. So it's a couple of different guys, but they do it.
One of those guys, I don't know who I met, but one of the guys I met went to his office. He has an office in the main area, right near the Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Okay, so he's pretty solid.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good thing about going there, is just like you don't really know like what you're gonna get, but I think there's good leadership in that sense, and like definitely like that's an advantage, I'd say.
I guess your friendships are with a lot of believers.
Yeah, I mean,
and you've also got another community. Like let's talk about your friends or believers.
Yeah,
and then I'll talk about something else.
Okay. So yeah, I would say I have like a bit of believers that I'm friends with. Obviously like most of my close friends are believers. From like growing up, high school, even college.
I'm just talking about college right now.
Oh, just college. Yeah, no. I would say most of them are believers. I have some friends who aren't.
Sure.
But I would say most of my like close friends that I made were believers. So
Does that help in accountability? Do you guys have like some kind of not like official accountability, but it's just organic in your relationships?
Yeah.
It's built in.
And I mean it's kind of built in, but some of it was like kind of honestly kind of like created, not really organic, but we had like this thing called like a grow group. So it was like with this like with the church actually that we literally got into like the first week we were there. So it was my roommate and then another girl in our hall, like all three of us were in the same grow group. So it was like we kept each other accountable because once a week we met and we talked about like what we're reading or what we weren't reading, and like that was, and just like life, like that was a really good like tight knit like circle to talk about. This is what is going on in my life right now, or this is how you guys can pray for me. And I really needed that this year, so that was, and like vice versa, like it was good for all of us. So
yeah, we were worried about her the first couple of weeks, Allie.
Really?
Oh yeah, I thought she might come home.
I think you did mention once or twice, like, I hate it here.
Yeah. No,
It was like the
did.
people in her life she liked.
Yeah.
I just didn't think she knew what to do with herself. Because how much free time did you have in high school?
Literally none. Like I mean, honestly, no, I really didn't have much free time. I was always doing stuff.
So you played. Let's go through the sports.
Okay.
So in the fall.
So I played golf in the fall.
Yeah. And then immediately went to
basketball,
which takes up half of your life.
Yeah.
Basketball. Because
And
even in the summers, you got
all
camps
workouts,
and all the things you do.
Yeah, and then soccer in the spring. So
soccer in the spring, and then we even did some soccer training in the summer.
Yeah.
At least a couple summers ago.
Yeah, and then
which I really think Shelby is like one of the best goalies I've ever seen play.
It's very kind. Thank you.
She is not afraid of anything.
That's like anything, like ball, like life.
Yeah,
she will run into people. Like she could have been a middle linebacker.
I think
that's right there.
I loved watching you play soccer.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite things.
No.
I never wanted to miss a game because, man, she just made me, I was like, man.
You could always catch Rick behind the goal. He was down in his hands. He was always behind the goal, like coaching her up.
I would.
Oh, well, I did get in trouble.
Oh, you did?
One guy
One
told
guy.
me I couldn't do it anymore. So I left.
When I was younger, I like would get so mad because I was like not as good. So, and I wasn't as confident. So he would like tell me to do stuff and I would be like, oh my God, like it would be so annoying. But then.
Okay, time out. Let's tell the truth on the backside of that. If I didn't get behind the goal.
Oh yeah, I would probably like, that would be even worse.
She was mad at me.
No, I was not either way. Like,
where were you at?
She was just always mad.
No, honestly, yeah. It's just like a state that I live in. No, I would get upset because I'm like, I needed that, but that's just like, I don't know. I like want people to read my mind. And like, obviously, like that's the same with like me on the roller coaster. Like, I need like someone near me, but like I don't want them to talk to me. But like, I don't know. I just.
Okay, let's explain the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Thing.
This is my dad's favorite thing to say about me.
No, it's not. I've got other favorite things.
Thanks.
So what she means, and she's talking about the roller coaster, I need somebody near me, but don't talk to me. So what she I gave her the same speech I gave Addie about, listen, it's not time to be afraid until it's time. But she would get on the roller coaster and she would start to freak out in her heart. But I could tell, I was like, are you okay? And she's like, don't talk to me. And if I said anything else, it was just like there's, repetition of, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. So it was just like all the way up the hill, like click, 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 all the way up the hill. Don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me.
It's like also no one was talking to me. Like,
yeah.
Like sometimes he would like do it to like be annoying because it was funny. Like it was hilarious.
You know me.
Oh, yeah, he likes to egg it on, but also it's like, I mean, that's so funny. Like it's like a 8-year-old girl who's like literally no one is talking and she's just like screaming like, don't talk to me.
Over and over.
Yeah. No, I was so crazy on the thing. I do love, like, the thing is, this is the thing.
She wants you with her.
Yes.
But don't talk to me.
But also, I would do anything. Like, that's the thing that I mean, like, I will do anything. I will be scared doing it. But, like, I love roller coasters. Like, I would, because I was tall enough when I was really young, because I was really tall when I was young. I'm so tall, but, like, extremely. So I was tall enough when I was in kindergarten to ride acrophobia, which is like at Six Flags. So it's
Tall
like,
enough in kindergarten to ride an adult ride.
yeah. And like, because it was 52 inches, I was 52 inches tall. I don't really know that's tall, but like I was tall enough for it.
For a
4 feet
kindergartner.
4 inches.
Yeah. And it was like 230 feet in the air and you tilted like this. And I was so scared, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to tell everybody I could do it. So that's just how I go about my life a little bit. But yeah. So what were we talking about? The community?
Yeah, we're talking about being accountable, and you needed somebody in your life. You want somebody close to you, but sometimes.
Oh yeah. And then you're saying like in high school I didn't really have free time, so that was how we got on that.
Yeah. So like you went straight from having all these activities, even after soccer, all the things you did in the summer.
Yeah.
To going to college, and now she's no longer playing any sports.
Yeah.
Not because we didn't encourage you to play soccer.
Yeah.
Walk on to the soccer team.
That is true.
But anyway, the whole point is that you went from doing everything to doing
nothing. Yeah, that was honestly like the most difficult transition of my entire life. Like way harder than like moving, honestly. Like just because, well, one, I'm older, and two, like I think I like tied a lot of my identity to that. So then like not even like I wouldn't have said that in high school. I would have been like, oh, I don't like I have my identity in Christ. Like I would have definitely said that. But then like going to a new space, like it was so difficult because I was like, okay, I don't have like anyone coming in. Like I knew multiple people going there, and like I had people there already. Like it wasn't like I was going in that way. It was just like, oh, like okay, I don't have teammates. I don't have like
you didn't have built-in friends.
No, right, and like that's my whole life. Like, and I thought like I never thought about really, but then I like looked back and I was like, oh, like in high school, like all my friends were my teammates. When I really thought about it, like we all played every single sport together, like because we had Hickory Grove, but like.
Then you convinced your friends that didn't play sports to play sports.
Yeah, and like that was so fun.
That's
like,
true.
No, and but like that was my whole life. And then
Flynn Ryder.
Yeah, Erin Flynn. She really came out. She played every single sport our senior year. She never played basketball in her entire life, and she played basketball her senior year. It was so fun.
That was fun.
And I just like that was even like I took sports seriously, but I could have worked a lot harder. Like that is so now I look.
You're the kind of person you're where your feet are.
Yeah.
You're a very present person.
Yeah.
So like you're all in to whatever you're in the moment.
And then not like, so I would be like all in for one sport, but like if I was not basketball season, like I wouldn't touch basketball. Like it was just, that wasn't happening. So I think then like going into college, I was like, okay, like I don't have anything that I like defines me. Like I have nothing. So it was just a hard transition of like, okay, like I also felt like I didn't meet anyone really like me for a while, which like, in hindsight, like, isn't really true because I'm still friends with like most people I met on the first week or a lot of them. But it was just like, okay, like we were just like, I felt really different. And I don't know, it was just very difficult in the sense of like, it's just hard, like when you have like nothing or going on. So I was like, what do I do? Like after the first week.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because after the first week, everything is like planned for you. And then you have to figure out your life. So I would just like, I would go to stuff that was planned, but I was like, I don't know what to do. Like I would sit in my room, I would go like on walks, but I just like felt, it was like, so like no purpose.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So did you find yourself kind of like figuring out, okay, I need to find my identity in Christ? Was there a moment there or did that happen later?
A little bit, but I think it honestly happened later. Like, I think in the moment I was just so consumed of like in myself and like just so like I was so upset. I was like, oh, I should have, like, I think I was like, oh, I made the wrong choice. Like, I should have worked harder and gone to play somewhere small, or like, I should have gone to NC State. Like, I was just like everything, like in my mind, I was like, oh, I should just bit the bullet and spent $100K to go to Liberty. Like, I was, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Why am I at Gardner Webb? Like, because I had a really hard time deciding where I went to college. Like, that was like, it was so annoying.
Yeah. I mean, she got in everywhere that she applied. Like everywhere she applied, she got in.
Yeah. But I just like had a hard time figuring out like what I was going to choose. And I felt like everywhere I was choosing, I was like giving something up. And I mean, that's kind of reality of it. Like you just don't really like get to have everything. So, but yeah, it was just difficult.
So you find this new community through CrossFit.
Yes.
So what's the girl's name that was from Hickory Grove that's the president?
Stephanie.
Yeah. Okay. So she gets you kind of plugged in,
Yeah.
helps you, right?
So Stephanie had reached out to me before because I knew they had CrossFit at Gardner Webb. So I was like, we've done CrossFit a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we would do it with the rights a lot. And I thought it was fun. I didn't love it, honestly, at all. But I just like, I knew I needed to get something active. And then Stephanie had reached out to me and there was like, it's called BYOF. It's Bring Your Own Friend. So I went to that. And it was good. Like I enjoyed it. And then, yeah, ever since then, I just like, I was pretty involved first semester. Like I would go maybe like 3 times a week. But then like this semester, I was super involved. Yeah. And that was a big like game changer for me. Like I think my like Gardner Webb experience really changed like October. So, because I was when I got really involved with CrossFit, I started with basketball. And then
what's your official title?
So I was manager. I was just a manager.
Manager on the basketball team.
But,
one of many?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 of us, yeah. Okay. So yeah, that made a big difference too. And I think once I got involved with stuff, like it just turned around for me.
So was there like just a reminder of who you are in Christ, and this is one of the things, you're like, this is who I am. I'm a Christian that just does CrossFit, Christian that helps with the basketball.
Yeah.
Or was there something else? Like what took place?
Yeah, I feel like it was easy to like, once I found new things to like, just like replace those as identity. So like, now that I had found new things, I was like, okay, like I'm no longer like Shelby Blazi, the soccer player. Like I'm Shelby Blazi, the girl who does CrossFit or who is a basketball manager. Or like, so that was like, I was like, okay, I need to be careful not to replace these as my identity, because that like almost, I felt this like sense of pride of like, okay, I have something again,
Mm-hmm.
But then I like was able to like remind myself of like, this is like my identity didn't leave me when I was struggling, like when I didn't have things, like because I still was who I am in Christ, and I still have a higher calling than any of these things because I'm a believer and because like the Lord has extended grace to me and that I don't deserve. So I think that was like something I just had to like remind myself of. But also it was not really hard to forget, like, because when you're in that space of like, I have nothing, but you still have like the Lord, and I didn't really feel like I never felt like, oh, like I don't have Christ,
Right.
So that was also encouraging because I still like, I had that even in the struggle.
It maybe wish wasn't as prominent as it should be.
Definitely not as prominent as it could have been.
Sure. Okay. All right. So tell us maybe some, something good about Gardner Webb. What you enjoy most, and then maybe what do you miss right now?
I think what I enjoyed most was, I don't know. I've honestly probably CrossFit like was probably the most thing I enjoyed, but I think the relationships that I built like within that, like that was super big for me. Like, and even in basketball, like just these random things that I was involved with, like the relationships I built inside of those things that like really changed like the trajectory of like, because I didn't go to CrossFit because I was like, this is just so much fun. Like I went because it was like, okay, like I get to see these people and like I don't know. I think that they just like, there's just people who really like have like a great outlook on like life, and because everybody who goes to Gardner Webb is either an athlete or they got scholarship money or they wanted to go to Liberty and couldn't afford it. So like that was the camp a bunch of us were in. Like honestly, like it's so understanding that like you can still like make the best of it. It's still a great school and there's so many things that are there, like, and seeing people like who are older like live that out. Like I have one friend, her name is Whitley, and she lives like she just has this outlook on life that was like, oh my gosh, like she just loves life. Like, and I think that she like, I met her through CrossFit. I don't really remember how I met her actually, but I got to be good friends with her from CrossFit, and I was able to see like just the way that she like loved Gardner Webb and like loved like her friends and her life. And I was just like, man, I like really want to be like someone who lives their life like that. And even like the unbelievers that I met through CrossFit, like I was like, man, like they just still like loved their life and they love working out. Like, so it was just fun to get to be with those people and see that. So
we've talked about that here on the podcast before. Is there like you can build a community, apart from church.
Yeah.
And locker rooms, basketball, football, soccer, whatever it may be, CrossFit. Those are all communities that are built on some common goal. And they can mimic the church a little bit, but they can't replace it.
Right.
It's never replacement. But they're so, they're strong relationships you build there because it's deep. And that's why I think we encourage people in our church to get in community with even not just a community group, like what we call community groups, other people call Sunday school.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, we call D groups because it's important for you to be with people.
Yeah.
And in community and have that connection because it's what strengthens you as a Christian. You provoke one another to good works, as the scripture says. And that's vital as a Christian. You have to have that. Like in the CrossFit community, it's neat because you see people cheering each other on to do more reps or do it faster or finish a cycle of something.
Yeah.
And you get that sense of camaraderie. But in church, you can have the same thing, but it's for a bigger purpose.
Right.
And you have it in a more important way. We bear one of those burdens. We walk through difficulty with each other. We encourage one another. When it's time to rejoice, we rejoice. When it's time to weep, we weep with one another. But that's why, building a community that's connected to a church somewhere is important. Being connected to a church and having some community of Christian people in your life is vital as a Christian. So appreciate you sharing all that. All right. So, anything else about Gardner Webb? What do you miss right now?
I would say I just miss that community.
Yeah.
I think
friendships.
Yeah. I think when you.
So are you going back?
No, I'm saying yeah. No, I think that, I had somebody tell me college is working, because I was saying when I come back, I remember coming back from fall break and I was didn't want to go back at all, and I was I'm not going back. Didn't want to. I was I don't care. Mm-hmm. But then now I go back and I'm now I come home and I'm oh, I miss being there. I'm oh, I love being home, but I miss being there too. And before that, it was just I always want to be home. I always want to have this life that I'm comfortable with. But now it's I actually like that too. And that's when they were yeah, college is working, because that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to have this development of that. So I think just getting to know and love and enjoy more people and more things, it's kind of sad when you're not around that. But yeah, that's probably what I miss.
Good deal. So also, what are you doing this summer?
Okay, so summer I'm basically just nannying. I'm sitting in for Addie on the podcast. I'm also sitting in for her job. Mm-hmm. So she watches some kids and I'm taking her spot for the summer because she's not going to be here and they needed help. So I've also never nannied before. Never babysat. I've only babysat older kids.
Should we make that public?
No, it's okay. She knows. But I've watched kids, just not young kids. So
the baby.
Yeah, I'm watching a newborn. She's I don't know, newborn still. She's 7 weeks old. She's super young, but she's really cute. So. Oh yeah. But so that's been fun. So I just started that last week, and then dog sitting. Been doing a lot of that, and I have some more planned, and then just hanging out. I'm going to the Fever game in July.
That's a big deal.
I'm so excited. One thing about me, I forgot, I should have put this in my intro. I'm a big basketball fan. I have talked about basketball already, but I love basketball, especially women.
We have apologized to you on this podcast before.
Yes, for getting basketball wrong sometimes. Well, players. Yeah. Yeah. So me and my dad can relate on this. We have a little bit of obsessive personalities. So we get on fixations. I'm right now, for the last year, probably gotten on a women's basketball. Maybe 2 years, actually. Because I started watching Iowa. Yeah, maybe 3. It's been a while now. Actually didn't really watch basketball at all when I played it. Ever. Yeah. I actually hated
You know more about basketball now than
I ever
played
it. Yeah, absolutely. I actually hated basketball for the majority of the time I played it. I did not really enjoy it.
Well, all the sports she played. She played golf.
Hated it.
She's fine. She was fine. She wasn't the best. She doesn't have the best swing, but she makes the best contact of anybody in the family with the ball. Okay. Except for maybe Jesse now. Jesse is eclipsed everybody.
Yeah, Jesse's really good.
He's a good golfer. Anyway, basketball.
I had good assets.
Nobody
Hustler.
worked harder than Shelby on the court ever. And
I shot with 2 hands until I was 14.
yeah, me right. But and no matter what we did to change it,
I was a rebounder.
man.
And you could box somebody out like nobody's business.
Nobody's business.
Listen,
box somebody out.
If there
Past the out of bounds line.
Yeah, seriously, that was my greatest asset. Like I could do a box out.
So now the ball might bounce 3 times in front of her.
Yeah.
She's boxing somebody out.
See, hyperfixation, obsessive.
Seriously.
She's focusing on the boxing out.
Yeah, for
Definitely,
real.
she was boxing people out.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer player now, for real. I think she could play at the D1's level right now.
Thank you.
So soccer was for sure, I think,
definitely
her
my good
sport, and she knew it the best. Like she understood the game. She started playing varsity in 8th grade, and then we had COVID.
Yeah.
She was they didn't have a goalie. We just lost Lucy. I don't know if you remember.
Stud. She was so good.
Right, she was
Baller.
phenomenal. She was really, really good.
Very athletic girl.
Yeah. She actually reminded me of you.
Yeah. I tried to be like her.
Well, that was a good goal.
She was good.
She was very athletic. I mean, and just like a field general. Like Lucy commanded the field. So
yeah,
they lost her, and they lost kind of a goalie, and then Shelby kind of was the replacement.
Yeah.
And for 4.5.
We had some rough years, but it was so fun. I played with this one girl. She's like amazing. D1. Who? I didn't play with her. I only played
You
with
did
them.
for that?
She wasn't there. She graduated.
No, it was like 4 games.
Yeah. I think
in
she's
2020.
Is she a year younger than Lucy?
No, because she's a year older than Charlie. Maybe I did. I don't know.
You played, Rhea and Mila played with each other that one year.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know, but I know I played with Mila. She's a great player. I played with her for 3 years. Yeah, and she was one of my friends. And
she's no roster online.
She plays.
She cost me money.
Yeah, Dad would bet because she would score from half field.
No, this didn't happen all the time.
This is like multiple times though.
Are we admitting to gambling, Rick?
No, I wasn't gambling. It was not a gamble. This is not what we're talking about here. So what happened was, we were at this game, and I'm sitting there. I'm sitting at the midfield point, but she's behind the midfield line. We get a handball or had to be a handball. It was a direct kick.
Okay, yeah.
It had to be a direct kick. And I said, if you put that in the goal, I'll give you $100 cash. I had no clue that she could. I knew she was really good. I've watched her play.
But like that, it was crazy.
Skilled. But it was a long shot. I don't know that she thought she could make it at that point. And she's like, what do they say? Bet?
Bet.
Yeah, right. So she did. And she kicked it. And it just, it was a perfect kick. It came right under the top crossbar and right in the net. And I was like,
honestly, like, you just gotta take that. Like,
yeah. So I was like, fine. Best $100 ever spent.
Yeah. So. No. I've played with a lot of good players. It was fun. She's great though.
And then I did it to
Elena Polito.
Yeah, Polito, but that was a corner kick. So I was like, I thought I'd give
you 50. It was 50, yeah.
I give you 50 if you score from there.
He never bet for me. I never bet if I saved the goal.
I gave you plenty of money.
Okay. You're right. Yeah. Anyway. Good times.
I mean, what we were.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about just what you're planning on doing this summer. And then we deviated.
Oh, I don't know how we got there. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing this summer. And we'll see if any other things are up. Oh, we're talking about basketball because I'm going to Fever game.
Oh, the Fever game.
Yeah. So then we're going to the beach before that. See what else happens.
So who's going to the Fever game with you? And how are you getting there?
So me and Mom and Addie are going. And we're taking a rental car. We're driving to Indiana. It's only 7.5 hours.
That's not a bad drive.
7.5 or 8?
Maybe 8.
Yeah.
So it's really not bad. Lauren does it all the time.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is that she's going to be here.
Yeah. Lauren lives out there, and she's going to be here while we're going to be there, which is sad. But yeah, we're going to go and stay for a couple of days, and I'm so excited because they're playing Golden State, which is Kate Martin, which is my real favorite player. Yeah. Kate's my number 1. Caitlin's my number 2. So I watched Iowa, and then I just love them. So yeah.
Is Kate getting to play?
She's playing a little bit more. She had a really good game the other day. 14 points in 6 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's a baller. I love her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I should have known she would know the exact
Exactly.
minutes and points.
She played like the second half and she didn't do as great, but it's okay. We'll just keep the 14-6. Just remember, keep that in your mind.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, so what do you think that we should talk about this summer? Talking about spiritual things this summer. Like, what are some of the things you want to discuss? Did you learn anything while you were gone that you want to discuss, or some opportunities that might come up that maybe we could discuss some different topics?
Yeah, I think one thing we talked about is finding a church in college.
Okay.
Topic I have personal experience in, and I think it's a great thing to know before you're going, and even when you're in college.
Okay.
And then 2, maybe we could talk about like missions.
Okay.
We talked about that a little bit last night at our little theology night thing.
Yep.
I think that would be fun. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, whatever comes up. We have I feel like if we have something good on Wednesday nights, we can bring it to the podcast.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll talk about that, and then I think we'll bring some politics in it a little bit because that's what we do here.
It's been a little spicy today.
I know Elon and Trump are kind of.
I've been getting like messages or like tweets this entire time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I just saw where Elon is going at Trump pretty hard.
Wait, I didn't know.
I hadn't seen Trump respond yet.
He has responded.
I'm sure he's responded
Let's
quite
see
a
if
bit.
I can find it.
So I knew nothing about politics.
I would
brief myself.
I would bet my house that he would respond.
For sure.
So are they broken up yet? Is this official?
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, why? What happened?
Well, I think Elon came out and said something about the Epstein files. Trump's on the list.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. Which we all knew that he was on the plane. I mean, that's like old news. I wonder what level he was involved. But I want all the names to come out. So whatever those are.
Yeah, seriously. One of these.
I don't care who went. I want to know I want to know like
what they
who
did.
went to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just on the plane.
Maybe we can talk about conspiracy theories.
Well,
actually, probably shouldn't. We've got in trouble.
let's keep that to a minimum.
He's mad about the big beautiful bill too.
Oh yeah, the big beautiful bill. Yeah. Well, we've talked about that here
a little bit. Yeah.
Because I was like, it's full of. I mean, it makes debt go like up.
Guys, this is a direct quote.
Oh no.
This is from 3 hours ago. Time to drop the really big bomb.
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out.
Yeah, I saw that post on the way back from football press.
I did think that we knew that he was on those lists, right?
I didn't know Donald was. I knew Bill was.
Yeah, maybe I.
Well, we did. I didn't know that Donald was on the plane. Like that's already been like documented that he was on the plane. I don't know where he went. I don't know if he went to the island or not. But there's several pictures of him with Epstein. He says that.
Have seen that.
That was a short-lived friendship. That's according to Donald. I don't know what the truth is, obviously.
Oh, I actually did.
But whoever is involved in the trafficking of children,
we should not.
It should be arrested.
2 thumbs down.
I did watch a TikTok about
Addie does.
Yes.
Recently about this girl talking about Donald Trump, and she was saying like all of the good things he did before he was president, and like how he was like everyone loved him, and how he was best friends with like Oprah and the other chick, Winnie. What's her name?
Winnie Goldberg.
Winnie the Pooh?
Winnie Goldberg? Willie? What's her name?
Who are you talking about?
From The View?
She's an African American woman.
She's on The View.
Yes. Winnie Goldberg. Something. Whippy. Sorry.
Whoopi?
Whoopi.
I'm
sorry.
I like Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Whoopi cushion.
Whoopi. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Whoopi Goldberg.
I was never going to get to that. She was friends with Trump before.
They were all of them were friends with
and
Trump.
They all
and
liked him.
he was a Democrat for a very long time.
Yeah.
He was also like if you look at his policies, it's not very different than Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I actually
very
heard that
similar.
too. She was talking about how the fiscal spending maybe or something is like the same as policies Bill Clinton.
Yeah, very similar. The last time we had a balanced budget, I think, was under Bill Clinton.
Yeah. And
well, the Democrats have just gotten so radical. Like they're so far left.
Well, it's Democrat and liberal is so different now. Like just the way of thinking. So
I think
so many people are saying.
I mean, the Democrats when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, they're basically conservatives.
Southern Democrat, very different.
No.
Right?
Not
Different.
that was different.
Okay, I don't know what I'm
That's old Democrat.
1800s.
Not that far. Not that far. But like 70s, 60s, 70s, that kind of Southern Democrat would be more rural. But now it's more, you see that happen more Republican at this point. It's kind of swapped a little bit. But anyway, I think that there's some, like I always say on this deal, it's like you can't just love everything one person does. It's a foolish thing to do to just accept everything.
For sure.
You got to be wise. And I mean, I have my problems with RFK. I have my problems with Trump. I have my problems with a lot of things. I don't think, we talked about this on the podcast before, we don't think that abortion is a political issue. It's a moral issue. It's an issue of morality.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that before. So that's outside of politics. Those are the things we stand for. Inside politics, sometimes those things, the policies, was just how much you spend, what bills you're for or against. Sometimes it just depends on where you line up fiscally, how you want to measure things in the economy, what do you want to value. I do think Trump's right on trade. I think we have to restructure trade. I think that's probably the best approach right now is tackling it that way. I think he's experiencing more resistance in the courts with these like really liberal judges where they're making these nationwide injunctions where you can't move forward and stuff. I was listening to, I was reading a stat the other day that Trump's had more injunctions on him in the last 4 months of his presidency. What has it been? 4 or 5 months? 6 months?
5 months.
4.5.
Something like that.
4.5 months of his presidency. And in that 4.5 months, he's had more injunctions on him than like Clinton, Bush, Obama,
First term.
first Bush and second Bush included in that.
Wow.
Their entire terms have not had as many injunctions as Trump has had in his first 4.5 months. And then like the first 100 years of America, none, like zero. So it's just become, like, I don't think that's the proper way that we should try to manage our political atmosphere at this point. We're just trying to use judges to attack what the president has been elected to do. So I think that's, some of those things are unfortunate, and I don't like that. But we'll talk some of that. We'll talk some about that later episodes. But always making sure that Christ is at the center. No president's going to be our hero. No president is going to rescue us from anything. The heart of the king is in the hand of God, and he can turn it whichever way he wants, like a river. So, I mean, sometimes we have leaders that are set up for our judgment. Sometimes it's set up for our blessing. You got to pick which one we're in. But they're definitely, the Lord's in control of that, and we submit to those laws that they set up.
Yep.
But we can complain about them because we're in America, so we can say what we want about it.
Freedom of speech.
All right.
First Amendment.
But we'll look into that. That'll be a good summer.
Yep.
All right?
Maybe we'll bring Jesse in the pod.
Man, that might be the first time we've said his name. I'm kidding.
No, we talked in that.
I know. I was just kidding.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Or Sawyer.
Never.
Sawyer's always in the pod. You just don't
He's
ever
a neat
see
character.
him.
That's true. He likes me.
He does. He loves it, Dad. It's not reciprocated.
Yeah. We'll see.
We're not the dog people of the family.
This is true.
Says the dog sitter.
Yeah, I am a dog sitter. I'm not a dog person. For sure. I'm working on it. One day.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Until next time.
All right.
Good job,
Shake our
fellas.
hands.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, what do you think, Allie? Did you listen to that at all in your headphones?
Yeah, I did like the first half in the headphones.
Did you hate it or did you like it?
I did not hate it, but because it's not coming through here, there was no purpose in me actually like listening to it because I don't think me adjusting anything on here is adjusting anything on here.